What we want is for kids to learn how to help their bodies be healthy. That is about using exercise, nutrition, relaxation, and sleep in the right way. If I had only 5 minutes with every kid in America, I would teach them this. Hear this, science teachers. I'm in my jungle chair, and a tiger comes up to me. What happens is adrenaline begins going through my body. What's the first thing that I feel? The first thing that I feel is butterflies. Why? Because where do I need the blood right now as I'm getting ready to jump? I need it in my butt, which is my jumping muscle, followed by my legs, which are my running muscles. What are butterflies? The butterflies are the blood leaving, part of it is the blood leaving your belly to go to your butt so you can jump. Isn't that cool? All right? And then what happens? Then your heart beats fast. Why? So you can pump that blood. And then what happens? You breathe fast so you can oxygenate that blood. Your pupils get big. Why? So you can jump over the log without falling, because otherwise the tiger is going to eat you. You sweat so you can cool off while you're running. And you can't think clearly at all when you're running. Why is that? We said in the beginning, it's because I'm not supposed to turn to you and go, is there any way you and I can just settle down and work this out? Right? You're supposed to be running. And when you run, then what you do is you convince the tiger that you've escaped, and therefore your anxiety is going to be reduced. When you don't run, then what happens is you believe that the tiger is still there, lurking around, ready to attack, and you're going to continue to be anxious. Furthermore, as we explained earlier, you're going to have to be ready to jump at any moment because you think the tiger's still lurking, which is going to bring cortisol into your body, which is going to, as I explained earlier, make you more set up for obesity, heart disease, and many other problems. So do you understand on this model why running is going to help with anxiety so much? Because what is anxiety? Anxiety is there could be a tiger there, it could be anywhere, but you've escaped it. Are you curious why it helps so much with ADD? Someone say yes? So this is a Ginsburg theory on ADD. Again, Ginsburg theory is defined as something I don't know to be true but makes sense to me. So there are two different kinds of people, brains. Remember that we all come from the jungle, right? As I've said before many, many times. And in the jungle, how did we survive? We hunted. So there are people who were deer hunters. Deer hunters are really good at focusing on the deer. They can focus on the deer. And if everyone was a deer hunter in the jungle, what would have happened to us? What? So we'd get all the deer. Is that what you said? Yeah, the deer would be gone. What else would happen? What? Food chain would crumble. Wow, that is the most sophisticated answer I've ever heard, but it is so true, okay? What else is in the jungle, guys? The tiger. So everybody's focusing on the deer while we're getting picked off by the tigers, which means you need two different kinds of brains. You need the deer hunters and you need the lookouts. The lookouts who are looking at the squirrel, looking at the tiger, and seeing it all. All right? I kept you alive. All right? What that means is that biologically, the ADD brain is a lookout. I am a scout. And when I start my day with exercise, going up hills and down hills, my brain turns on and I can be calm. When I don't start my day with exercise, I'm not listening to what my biologic purpose is. For those of you who are health teachers or psychology teachers, again, summarized in my book, best book, Spark, by Ratey, R-A-T-E-Y. Amazing book that will explain to you the power of exercise in reducing violence in your school, reducing bullying in the school, reducing rates of depression and anxiety and ADHD in your school. But sometimes you can't exercise, right? If someone hands you that biology test, you can't go, excuse me, gotta run, right? You can't exercise. Then what you need to do is you need to be able to relax. Well, kids, the science lesson continues. There are actually two nervous systems in your body. The nervous system is your brain, your spinal cord, and then what tells the rest of your body to do. There is the voluntary system, which says, I'm walking, I'm talking, I'm turning. And then there is the involuntary system, which says, I'm beating, I'm breathing, I'm digesting. Within the involuntary system, there are two parallel systems. Parallel, you might remember from math class, means that the two systems don't touch. One of them is, I'm chilling, and the other is, there's a tiger chasing my butt. These two systems run in parallel, which means that if I could only find a switch to turn on my relaxed system, then my tiger chasing my butt system will automatically turn off. So let's look for that switch. Let's return to the jungle chair and say, what can I control? Can I choose to get the blood from my butt back to my belly? Can't be the switch. The sweat back into my pits. Can't be the switch. Shrinking my pupils. Can't be the switch. What can I do? I can breathe. So when we teach kids how to breathe, we teach them how to turn on their parasympathetic nervous system, which automatically means that their sympathetic system turns off. This is the power of meditation. This is the power of yoga. This is why mindfulness has been proven to work so effectively. So we have to teach people how to breathe. How do we teach them how to breathe? So again, beyond the scope of what I can do with 15 minutes left, I have all of this in films that teach people how to do it. But here's the bottom line. If I tell, especially a young man, how to take a breath, then what he's going to do is he's going to breathe like this. Because it's so sexy, right? But the real breath is the belly breath, right? Followed by the chest breath. The tidal volume, meaning the amount of air that you exchange, and the extent to which your pleura, the skin around your lungs, is stretched, is about tripled. And when you really know how to breathe, your I'm chillin' parasympathetic system gets turned on in a very, very dramatic way, and you become relaxed. What is mindfulness? It is about using the power of breath to get so in touch with the present that you stop lamenting the past, which is also known as depression, and worrying about the future, which is also known as anxiety, because you're just living here. All right? Breath. Next, and in the interest of time, I'm going to skip nutrition and sleep. Here's what you need to know about nutrition. The brain, when it comes to stress, is only bathed in glucose. You've got three main things that give you calories: glucose, fat, and protein. But the only one that crosses the blood-brain barrier is glucose. Having a stable glucose affects your mood and affects your concentration in a very, very big way. Did you know? Well, anyways, in a very big way, which is why you what kids eat is going to make a difference. If they eat candy, then the sugar goes up and down, which is going to make them stressed, anxious, and not learning. If we teach them how to either eat high-protein foods, which involve no sugar, but make your liver put out sugar in the right aliquots, it's called gluconeogenesis. It takes the protein and transforms it. Just for you to know, I am a doctor, and your liver's over here. Okay? I'm like, this doesn't feel right. It's over here. In gluconeogenesis, it will put out the glucose in exactly the right amount, or complex carbohydrates will also allow it to happen. Sleep is profoundly important, and I could talk about it for 20 minutes, but again, we're running out of time. It is very well detailed in the Building Resilience book, which is not the book that was sold here, but there's several pages on sleep in terms of how you teach the kids who are having the hardest time sleeping how to sleep using breath. But let's put this together. Now we have the 5-year-old boy, and he's having a tantrum. We can say to him, "You sit in that chair right now, no recess for you," if you're an idiot. Or what you could do is you could say, "Run it out, little man, run it out, blow bubbles." And teach him at the same time how to take control of his mind. Because when he is tantruming, the blood is in his amygdala, not his cerebral cortex. You want it in his cerebral cortex. The only way it's going to get there is to burn off the adrenaline that's going through, and then using the power of breath to have it come back. Now, I'm in 10th grade, and I'm having another kind of tantrum. That kind of, I'm going blank kind of tantrum, which means I've forgotten everything that's going on in my head because my blood is in my amygdala. What am I doing? Now let's bring in the science of kinesiology. What am I doing? I am leaning forward. When I'm leaning forward, my hips are in this position, which says I'm getting ready to jump. My legs are shaking, which means I'm communicating to my body, why am I sitting still when there's a tiger chasing my ass right now, right? What am I going to do instead? I am going to move my hips forward. I'm going to stop shaking. I'm going to let my shoulders rounded. I'm going to open my legs a little bit, which is the universal male position for no tiger coming to me right now. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to take deep breaths. And I'm at the SATs, and I don't look like a freak, and no one knows what I'm doing, but I am stimulating my parasympathetic system and ensuring that my blood flow is in the right part of my brain. Because I cannot be both running and relaxed at the same time, so I overstimulate my relaxed system. Moving on, managing your emotions. Sometimes you have to get away from it all. I don't want my kids learning to use drugs. I want them to take a vacation in any way that they can. So they can take a walk, they can work on a hobby, they can read poetry. All of that works. But the problem is you've got to pick something that doesn't allow for intrusive thoughts. And scientifically, the two things that seem to be best to prevent intrusive thoughts are mindfulness, which I described earlier, because you just become fully present, and reading a book. When you are reading a book, then what happens is you begin visualizing the panorama, hearing the sounds, smelling the smells, feeling the feelings. As a result, there is no room for intrusive thoughts. That's why love of learning matters so much. That's why we in schools can't make kids so terrified of the B+ that they forget how much fun it is to learn and how much fun it is to escape.